the most fearsome is persuasive AI. I call it persuasive AI. I don't think it's a formal term. That used on human beings is a problem. Now, the optimistic side of me said every human will have an AI agent that protects them. Every time I'm about to click on something and buy it because some persuasive AI convinced me to buy things I don't need, my AI agent may actually rationally oppose that other AI or talk to me and say, do you really need to do this? Or does this align with what you want to do with your money, your goals, your life? So I do think every human being will have a personal agent looking after their interests. And that won't be an advertising model. I think it'll be a protective model, and maybe other AIs only talk to my AI agent, not me, which would be nice. I don't know how this plays out, but this is all speculation. But it's one possible scenario that's, I think, very likely. I think unprotected humans will not be the most likely scenario.
Wow. So essentially, you'll just have all these different AIs make decisions together, have, you have your own AI that will have your own best interests at heart, and that will essentially communicate with other AIs as decisions are made on your behalf.
Yes. It's very likely to happen.
It's not hard to fathom. For me, what I'm trying to understand is, where do we get to a point where, as these different forms of intelligence communicate together, one of them will be like, hey, why are we even doing this? Let's just focus on us as a species.
So we've talked about this safety and risks, from overtly bad risks to what sound like good risks, like a free doctor for everybody on the planet. And the country that provides it gains a lot of goodwill. But there's a whole macroeconomic view that we talked about layoffs and things in the 2030s in a material way, where we're talking about 30, 40, 60% of the economy, of all jobs in the economy. I think that capability to replace 80% of all jobs, so 64% of all jobs humans do, is within 2 or 3 years a while to develop, not to deploy. Deployment will take longer. Could take 5 years, could take 10 years.
Deployment as in adoption?
Adoption.
Okay.
Yeah. Deployment will start early, but once you get to 2 or 3%, it's just a matter of time where the exponential takes over, in my view. So the economy itself, the good side, will be, and this is the 2016 article I was talking about, where in Fortune, where AI will cause great abundance, great GDP growth, great productivity growth, everything economists love. We will have near free goods and services. And physical AI or robotics will play a role in that, and that'll be delayed from the software AI. You'll have a very deflationary economy. It's conceivable that $10,000 or $20,000 in 2035 or 2040 buys much more than $100,000 buys today.
And that's the world of abundance you're talking about.
It'll be the 2040s before it becomes essentially free goods and services, with robots doing all the work, so nobody needs to produce. Look, the current economy is set up around incent humans to produce goods and services. It's a barter system, with money being the exchange medium. If goods and services are near free, there's always the cost of compute. It's a different kind of world. It's a different kind of deflation than when we talk about deflationary economies. I was just talking to a couple of people at the Chicago School of Economics on this idea. is this deflationary economy with rapidly declining prices, but rapidly increasing output for people to consume all the goods and services, is a pretty exciting kind of picture. And the near term is huge. I'm almost convinced in this administration, you could provide every child with a personal free tutor, AI tutor. And my wife runs a nonprofit called CK12 that actually has probably 5 million monthly AI tutor users and 5 million students asking for help and to an AI on their nonprofit website. Nobody's ever pays a penny. And it's cheap enough where I can afford to fund it. And I hope that's 500 million students worldwide soon. But every student in the US or in India could have, in the next 4 years, free AI tutors for education and free medical expertise of all sorts. And I think we're working on all these.
Free, and look, I think it's even more than that. It's free. Everything is knowledge based.
So everything is knowledge based. In fact, if we look across our portfolio, I talked about free AI tutors. We are doing that as a nonprofit, but we're doing free AI primary care doctors, free AI oncologists, free AI mental health therapists. These are all things we are doing today. Free physical therapists. People think physical is harder. No, it's. I shouldn't say free. The word is near free, because computing has a cost. Yeah, and sometimes there's some physical cost, but it's minor compared to today's cost. We're building free structural engineers, free product designers, free chip designers, free analog chip designers. That's all stuff we are developing today. Not all of them will succeed, and I'm used to failure. But if we don't do it, somebody else will. Look at the top 20, 30 professions. People are already building AI replacements for those. That's a pretty wonderful world and a pretty scary world in the short term. Like, what will people do? You get into what is the meaning of life, and that's a longer conversation. I addressed that in the utopia part of my November piece. We mostly talked about the dystopia part, but this is the utopia part we're getting to.
But essentially, you're redefining purpose for us as a species.
Yeah.
Like when you wake up in the morning, most of people's purpose is essentially being productive to society in one way or another.
I think it's a little bit different. So when you're 5 years old, most kids get to school, sent to school, so you can study hard and get a job. Get a job part of that will go away. So in fact, in the past, when kids have been advised, kids say, what should I do? And says, the advice is follow your passion. I say, that's bad advice. Why? Because if you can't support your family and pay for your kids' college or your mortgage or other things, follow your passion isn't great advice. That will become great advice. It will free up humanity to not be gated from age 5 on towards getting a job and getting an income. And a small percentage of people escape this treadmill, if I can call it that, of a better and better job, more and more income, so you can consume more or have more status. So, frankly, most people don't realize most of the jobs, even in this country, aren't great jobs. They're not even jobs, what I would call respectable jobs. If you're a farm worker or a GM assembly line worker, putting a tire on a car for 8 hours a day for 30 or 40 years, that's servitude. That's not a job.
Sure.
That's human servitude. And people ask me to not use that word, but that's exactly what that is. It's servitude to making a living and surviving. And I think this need to work to have this basic standard of living will go away. People will work because they want to work and work on the things they want to work, irrespective of its economic value to society.